Hello and welcome to my single eyeshadow collection video. Okay, so before I get into the video itself, I wanted to talk a bit about my policy around my collection and decluttering. I am pre-filming all of these, so if you've already watched one of my collection videos, you've already heard this rant, so you can feel free to skip to the next section of the video. For those of you who do not know, my policy when it comes to keeping things in my collection is that unless a product is really unusable, I am keeping it and using it up or using it until it goes bad. So you'll probably see in this video me talking about keeping products in my collection that I don't necessarily like or don't think they look very good on me, but I am not decluttering anything out of my collection unless something has gone bad. And the reason for that is basically because I really don't have anyone in my life currently who I can pass down used makeup to. All of my friends and family, the ones that even do wear makeup at all, would not be comfortable receiving used makeup, especially right now with the pandemic. So I've basically made myself solely responsible for using up everything that I buy. Now, I personally like having this policy for myself because in my more recent purchasing history, it's made me a lot more wary of bringing new things into my collection and a lot more selective in what I purchase. But because I got into makeup fairly recently, I still have a lot of stuff in my collection that I impulse bought in my early days of makeup just because I didn't really know what I was into or what I liked, and I was just kind of willy-nilly trying out different things. But yeah, that is basically an explanation on the state of my collection and my policy about decluttering. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Hello! So if you don't know where we are, my makeup drawer is like right here, it's just off screen, and my single eyeshadows are right here. So here we are, my single eyeshadow collection. My phone stand is just too short to the point where I can't quite show you my single eyeshadow drawer properly. So unlike in my eyeshadow palettes video, I'm actually going to be swatching everything in my single eyeshadow drawer. So let me start this video by taking everything out first and then swatching them in stages. So I'm going to start with all of my single shadows that are not either Colourpop Super Shock shadows or Devinah or Clionadh Singles. It's really easy to categorize those things together as one unit, so I'm gonna swatch those all at the end. Also, I will not be swatching the few loose shadows I have in my collection, basically because they need kind of an adhesive to stick to the skin properly, and I really don't want to have a makeup accident happen on this carpet. So yes, let's get started. The first thing I have here are these 3 metallic eye and lip crayons from Fenty. I got these as a Christmas present when I was first kind of starting my makeup journey. This is Ice Dunes. Ta-da! This one is Pretty Penny. And this one is Sunfrost. The light is really bright here compared to where I usually film. Ooh. I think it's because I'm closer to my window than I usually am. Here's a few liquid shadows. This one from Wet n Wild. This one is in Fairytale Ending. Ooh, this one's nice. Very shiny. I wish I wore liquid shadows more, but sometimes they're a bit messy for me to handle. And this one is Putty in My Hands. I got this in an influencer box some time ago. It's a pretty typical pale nude shade. I tried using this as a base a few times. Didn't quite work out. It's a little too thick. Or at least it goes on a little too thick. This is a single shadow from IBY. It's from an Ipsy bag. Actually, probably from one of my very first Ipsy bags, thinking back on it. If you watched my eyeshadow collection video, or my eyeshadow palette collection video, you'll know these like brown to green shift colors really suit me. This is in, the shade name is Fire and Ice. I will not swatch this because this is one of my loose shadows. This is Naked Cosmetics in HE06. I'll open it up for you and show you. It's a blue, very pretty. I have worn this a lot to like special events. With like glitter glue, it sticks on very well. It's very pretty. It's already getting all over my fingers, even though I didn't even swatch it. Hang on, I'm gonna clean this up. Okay, while we're on loose shadows, I might as well show you my other loose shadow while I'm at it. This is from Jelly Pong Pong Cosmetics against another pretty blue. I haven't used this as much as the Naked Cosmetics, mainly because it's not as vibrant of a blue. Like, I associate this guy from Naked Cosmetics with like a lot of like special, like formal events where I want to feel super duper fancy. This is more of like a casual blue. The shade name is Pulsar. Right. This is a quad from Pixi. This was like distributed through Ipsy. I don't think it's regularly sold. Just like regularly on the market. Ooh, you can't even see that. That's this shimmer shade right here. Well, they're both shimmer shades. This one's just the lighter shimmer shade. And then here's the brown guy. Ta-da! And then here's another duo from Belle and Argent. I got this in my most recent Ipsy bag in March. I swatched it in that video, but I'll swatch it for you guys here again. Here's the matte brown. And here is that champagne shade. Today is not the greatest lighting for swatches, but oh well. Just gotta deal with it. Alright, this is an Ipsy like special eyeshadow from their like Ipsy brand. This was part of the Ipsy and Betty Boop collection. It's called Up Past Midnight. Yeah, it's a pretty like typical like shimmery, it's not even black. It's kind of like dark gray. I've heard mixed things about the Ipsy quality. I did not expect that to swatch so well. I've only worn it like once or twice, so I can't really speak to the lasting power. This liquid eyeshadow is from Moly. It's the Mark Glitter Liquid Eyeshadow. I know it has an English name, but it's not on the packaging, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. This is another kind of silver thing. Oh, it's kind of hard to see. Oh, there we go. It's very much a glitter topper. You definitely need to put this on top of something as opposed to using it on its own. Although I guess technically you could use it on its own. But you can really only see kind of the glitter and the shine, especially on camera. Ta-da! I got some on my fingers, so I'll be right back. Okay, moving on. If you'll notice, a lot of my single shadows are from Ipsy, and this is no different. This is the Laura Sanchez Moods eyeshadow. It's one of the eyeshadows from their Moods palette, which I do not have. I just have the single. And so I do not know what this individual shade is called off the top of my head. If I can look it up, I'll like put it on the screen in editing. I really love this shade. I've worn this a lot. Yeah, pretty pink. When I'm filming this, like, springtime is right around the corner, so I'm going to be wearing this a lot more. Another thing from Ipsy, Estate Cosmetics single in Smash. It's a really nice red. I've worn this in a few videos, and I really like it. Alrighty, Space Case Cosmetics single eyeshadow. Another Ipsy brand. Probably actually my favorite Ipsy brand, Space Case. Between this and their Putty blush, kind of a putty blush formula similar to the Colourpop Super Shock Chic formula. This and Douce are like my two favorite Ipsy brands. Ta-da! Green. Kind of hard to go wrong with green for me, at least. Love me some green. I actually don't think I've ever worn this on camera. I've worn this quite a bit in person when I went to college, but I don't think I've ever worn this in a video. I should do that. Alrighty, this is a single shadow from Violet Voss. Again, it was a thing received in Ipsy. Ta-da! I think actually I have the video where I hauled this in my Ipsy bag on YouTube. I can't quite remember all the time, like which videos I filmed for Ipsy or of Ipsy bags. Wow, that's really shiny on camera. You almost can't see the pink. But back in the day, I would like my early days of YouTube, back in the dorm days, I would film a video and then just never release it. So like there's a couple of videos like I filmed, but I just never released. So sometimes it's hard for my brain to keep track of what I have filmed and released and what I have filmed but just never released, because I was very inconsistent about releasing videos back then. Just because I was still in school, it wasn't really that big of a priority. Alrighty, Wander Beauty eyeshadow single. Again, another thing from Ipsy. This is the Wanderess eyeshadow in Blossom. This is a very pretty shade. It's like a duochrome. Kind of like that pink gold shift. Doesn't come across super well on camera. You can kind of see the shift. You can see the shift in the pan more, actually. Ta-da! Alrighty, another Ipsy thing. I think everything that's left is an Ipsy single shadow. Nomad Cosmetics. In the shade in Stockholm. I love what they've sent me from Nomad Cosmetics, and Ipsy has given me quite a bit. Ta-da! It's not the best blue I've ever had, but I don't know if you can tell, because I mean the pattern's still there, but I have used this quite a bit. I tend to like the face products Ipsy has given me from Nomad Cosmetics more than the eyeshadows. Well, I mean, this is the only eyeshadow they've given, so I mean, not really a fair comparison if I've only tried one eyeshadow, but still, just based on what they've sent me, I like their bronzer and the highlighter that I've gotten from Nomad in Ipsy. Suva Beauty, another single eyeshadow in Empire State. I've heard about Suva Beauty, even outside of Ipsy. I've also heard of Nomad, too, outside of Ipsy. Ta-da! Because I feel like there's some brands where, like, you only hear about them in Ipsy bags. But there's some other brands where, like, people would, like, investigate their other stuff that doesn't come in Ipsy boxes. Alrighty, Colored Rain single shadow. Speaking of another brand I've definitely heard of outside of Ipsy. This is their single shadow in Champagne Life. I've used Champagne Life quite a bit as both by itself and as an inner corner highlight. You can see there's a little bit of a dip in this. Alrighty, last single shadow, or like random single shadow that's not part of like a collection. Real Her eyeshadow in Victorious. I think this might have come in my last bag before the pandemic hit, so I'm not sure if I've actually worn this before. Most of these I have worn before, but particularly like the two Ipsy bags I got right before the pandemic hit were like my two most neglected Ipsy bags of like all time. So there's actually quite a few things in those last two Ipsy bags I still haven't gotten around to trying, just because everything that happened immediately after I got those bags. But yeah, that's kind of all of like my random single shadows that don't necessarily fit into any kind of category. So this Z palette does have my Devinah shadows and then most of my Clionadh shadows in it, but I'm going to save those for the end and just go over some of the more random shadows that are in here. So this is a single right here, this brown shade from Natasha Denona. It just came as like a Sephora extra. Typical brown, not really much to say about it. Except that it's from Natasha Denona, which is like one of the brands that like I'll probably never own their like hero product of that $130 eyeshadow palette. Okay, this guy right here is a single shadow from The Balm. Can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I don't think it's on the back. But yeah, it's like silver. It's kind of fun in the wintertime. I really like silvers in the wintertime. I like doing like a black smoky eye with silver. I think that's a little outdated now, but I still like it. Okay, this is a single eyeshadow from Catrice. Got this from Ipsy. Again, not sure of the name. But yeah, it's a cute kind of lavender color. Good for spring and winter too. So yeah, I think that's all of my non-Devinah Clionadh shadows in here. Okay, move the camera a tiny little bit, but now we've got my Colourpop Super Shock shadows. I'm just gonna swatch all of them, not really in any particular order. I tend to rotate my Super Shock shadows, so like I get even use out of all of them, so they're not really in any kind of order. Alright, so this is Let Me Pass. Ooh, that did not swatch well. Some of these are on the older side. They're not quite at the point where like I need to rejuvenate them with like alcohol or anything like that, but I do need to like warm up some of the older ones to get them working again. All right, there we go. Pretty. This is from the Colourpop Biddy collection with Pony Park. This is a gumball. You can tell which ones are from the Pony Park collection because of the pink packaging. Ooh, is that gonna show up on camera? Oh, it's like my old camera again. Is that gonna show up? Yeah, you can see the shininess of it, but for some reason today my camera isn't pulling up like light pink colors. Like it's just showing light pinks as just kind of white shininess. This is in All In. This is a nice color. It's like a burgundy. Burgundy magenta. Ooh, and this is still nice and buttery. Yes. Alrighty, this is in DJ. Ooh, this is from the Colourpop Make-A-Wish collaboration. I don't believe they sell this anymore, but this has got... The shadows in this collab were great. I don't throw away things from limited edition collections, even if they're not available anymore. If you watched my like pre-recorded intro, you'll know that I use up eyeshadows, just everything, for as long as I can, until they've expired, basically, or if I use it up. And this is also, so this is also from the Make-A-Wish collection. This is in Okay. Pretty. This is definitely an inner corner highlight for me. I can't really use it for much else. Pretty. Also from the Biddy collection, we have Seventh Heaven. Ooh, I love this color. I really like these kind of pinky, peachy colors as eyeshadows, particularly in the spring, which is coming up. At least here in the Northern Hemisphere. Okay, Biddy collection, Walk on Air. Another champagne. How similar is this to Okay? Okay is more glittery, whereas Walk on Air has that more kind of smooth shimmeriness to it. This is Like a Shot. We're pulling some really similar shades here. I gotta work this one. Ooh, wow, that's really similar to Walk on Air. Like a Shot is just a little bit warmer by comparison. This is Cherish. I love this one. Ooh, this is from the Make-A-Wish collection. Beautiful. When I used to go out in the world, if I wanted just a basic neutral makeup, I would wear this and sometimes Like a Shot, but usually just this on its own. Alrighty, this is Honor Roll. This is a nice, like, deep brown with, like, gold in it. It's a surprisingly unique shade for just kind of a regular, what looks like a regular brown, but I'll swatch it for you. You'll see there's kind of, like, just very subtle gold flecks in it. And I am out of fingers to swatch, so I'm gonna clean up my hands and be right back. So this next Super Shock shade is from the Animal Crossing collection, and if you notice, I've kept it in the packaging. It's one of the few things I will ever keep in its packaging, is the stuff from the Animal Crossing collection. So this is Balloon Pop, obviously, because it's... I thought this was similar to Cherish. It's got a similar texture, but the color is different. Ta-da! Ooh, gotta put it back. Great. This is in Here We Go Again. I wish I knew, like, which of these Colourpop still stocks, because I definitely know, like, the Make-A-Wish collection and the Pony Park collection, they don't stock anymore, but some of these used to be part of their core line of products, but I haven't seen some of them in a very long time. Okay, this is my favorite. This is Pledge Class. All-time favorite Super Shock shade. This is also one I'm pretty sure they don't sell anymore. I am going to cry when I run out of this. It's it's gold, but it's got a very slight shift. I can't even describe it. It's just the flex in it. It's a very unique shade. I have a lot of trouble capturing some of the subtleties of the Super Shock shades on camera, but there's a reason why I have so many. I love them. Look at the last of the Pony Park shades. This is in Warm and Fuzzy. This one came a little broken, but it still works just fine. Pretty, pretty. Alrighty, last but not least, we have Warrior from the Make-A-Wish collection. This is very similar to that blue shade that's in their core collection that they sell at Ulta. I forget the name of it, but it looks very similar. Oh, maybe I should have warmed it up a little bit more for proper swatch. That's a little better. Ta-da! Alrighty. Okay, you've seen this single Z palette before because now I'm gonna go through all of my Devinah shadows. So these two right here are actually highlighter shades that Devinah put into eyeshadow pans for their collaboration with Angelica a few years ago. Ta-da! I'm probably just going to have to put the shade names either on screen or in the description just because I don't want to be plucking out each and every shadow out of my Z palette to like look at the name, what name they are. These are very pretty. Very good inner corner highlights. And this is the blue here, these two blue shimmers and then that green shimmer towards the end are like my favorites. One of my favorite blues. And then this shade, I really don't have a shade like this in my collection. It's like a turquoise. I love mixing this with like the blue, the green, or just wearing it on its own. It's gorgeous. Righty, here's like a matte olive shade right here. Ta-da! Righty, here's that like lighter green shade, kind of like, almost like an army camo green. Then that like light green shimmer from Devinah. Pretty. I don't use this one as much, but I should. It's very pretty. Now my favorite green, this kind of emerald green right here. This speaks to me. This kind of shade, it calls my name. Okay, so Devinah also has these three mattes down here. Pinky mattes mostly. Here's the lightest one. Here's this kind of dark berry shade. And then here's this like magenta purple shade. They don't swatch super well, especially for these two, but they go very well on the eyes. Alrighty, now on to the Clionadh shadows. Again, I'm going to either put the names in the description or up on screen. But I'll start with this guy right here. Ooh, look at that, how chunky that is when you swatch it. Or when you pick it up with your finger, but when you swatch it, look at that. Still remains a little chunky on the finger, but once you smooth it out a little bit, it's very nice. Okay, here's this like light purple. Ooh, I love this shade. I have to be kind of careful about the kind of light I put it in because on camera it like almost doesn't show up sometimes on my eyes. And I'm once again out of fingers to swatch with, so I will be right back. Okay, now for this other purple right here. Chunky. Okay, I'm not sure if the camera's gonna pick this up, but if it does, you'll see why I saved the Clionadh shadows for last. There is still glitter on my arm. Oh, you can't see it. Oh well. Now for this really interesting shade right here. This is like the only shade I currently remember off the top of my head. This is Grisaille. Just because of how crazy it is. Woohoo! Pretty. Okay, now for this other shade right next to it. Between the greens. Oh, look at Grisaille on the finger. Holy moly. It's the middle finger. I'd show you, but I don't want to give you the finger. This is also insane, although I haven't played with this as much as I have with Grisaille. Alright, now for this blinding green shade. I used this in my haul video of Clionadh, but for the life of me, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Pretty. Chunky. And then I remember this one, Patina, because both of these greens are named Patina because they're both part of Angelica's collection. Well, I'm not sure if it's because they were both part of Angelica's collection, or just because it just happened to be. This is gorgeous. Like all of these are like stunning, but then you swatch this and you're just like, ah. So yes, I have, like I said, I have most of my Clionadh shades in this single palette, but there's a few of them I couldn't quite fit in the Z palette. So I have them in this extra Devinah case, this was originally supposed to be for the Devinah shades, but I kind of like to have everything together. Unfortunately, like I said, couldn't fit the last 3 Clionadh shades into that Z palette. So here's the last 3 of the Clionadh shades. It's the white shifty guy. Oh dang, on camera, I can't get it to shift. Here's this. This is the one I've used the most out of all of the Clionadh shades so far. Mostly because even though it's like Clionadh, so it's still like stunning and very shiny, it's like the most neutral one, so it's kind of the one I can get away with just wearing as like a regular everyday shadow. And here's this like pinky guy. Oh man, I'm getting shadow everywhere. Pretty. And that's it. That's all of my single shadows. My hands are disgusting. They're full of glitter, and so are my arms, but I'm very happy. It was so much fun swatching all of these different shadows to really get a close look at everything I have. So yeah, let me know if you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.